And we are back to the fifth and the final segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this final segment, we are going to be talking about how the Cavs are reportedly interested in grabbing Miles Bridges and bringing him onto the roster. It's going to be a shorter segment than usual, but Miles Bridges, he is a forward for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, I'm not a really big fan of Bridges. I'm not a really big fan of the things that he sort of did in his career. I'm not a big fan of him as a player. But aside from that, I'm not going to deny the fact that he is a pretty good basketball player. And I'm not going to deny the fact that he brings value to the Cavs if they do end up trying to get him in free agency or in a trade. Depends on what they decide to do. Again, forgive me, it is rather late, so my eyes are a little bit puffy. And the Cavs, they're reportedly a team to watch, quotes, team to watch for Miles Bridges. Now, according to this report, the Cavs are looking to acquire a big wing. This includes the possibility of moving restricted free agent Isaac Okoro in order to do so. So, one of the players that they could target in a sign and trade is the free agent Miles Bridges. Again, apologize for you guys. It is rather late, and the light is directly in my face, so eyes are definitely not doing well in this one. But aside from that, according to Mark Stein, Bridges is someone the Cavs could potentially be interested in. It is not clear how serious the interest is, but league sources describe Cleveland as a team to watch in potential sign and trade scenarios with Miles Bridges. So the new Hornets exclusive vice president, of basketball operations, Jeff Peterson, has said publicly that Charlotte hopes to retain Bridges, but Bridges is known to be interested in sign and trade options. Also, Charlotte has since agreed to trade for Dallas swingman Josh Green in the three-team collaboration via sign and trade that will soon land Golden State's Klay Thompson in Dallas. So, the Los Angeles Times reported this week that the Clippers have also expressed some sign and trade interest in Bridges. So, it's not just Cleveland. So, if Cleveland wants to act on Miles Bridges, they have to act rather quickly since the Clippers are interested in, trying to sort of replace Paul George after, they let Paul George walk in free agency. Now, theoretically, Miles Bridges does fit the Cavs as what they would need on the court. The Cavs really, they need defense, and having Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell is nice on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, they're both relatively short compared to the average guard, and their wingspans aren't really that much longer than to compensate, and therefore their defense is going to struggle as well. And that was really one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, that the Cavs ended up having. But Bridges, he is a 6'7", and he is a very competent wing defender. He can comfortably switch between the 3 and the 4, and this is sort of what the team needs and what they've been seeking for quite some time. He could come off the bench, or he could even be in the starting lineup, and he'd be a very lethal force. Bridges averages 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists for the Hornets, shooting 46%, 34% from 3, and 82% from the free throw line. And he's gotten the reputation of being a 3-and-D wing, though the three-point shot isn't really something that is consistent, but the rest, the defense has definitely been consistent for Miles Bridges. Now, he has shot under the league average from the 3 in 4 of his 5 seasons. The 2021-22 campaign, where he converted 40% of his triples, was the only exception to this 5 season sort of, the 5 seasons that I have for Miles Bridges. Now, the major concern for adding Bridges comes off of the court. He didn't play in 2022-2023 due to being arrested multiple times for domestic violence charges, which included a felony charge of domestic violence and child abuse. Now, He was sentenced to 3 years of probation and no jail time after pleading no contest to the felony charge. So, and Bridges' wife at the time of the incident alleged that she suffered a fractured nose and wrist, a torn eardrum, an injured neck, a concussion, and was choked. His now ex-wife has come out since defending Bridges, saying that he is, quote, I'm not going to really talk about that much, really, so I'm just going to not touch about that on the article. But really, that seems to be the biggest concern of Miles Bridges, the fact of, his off-the-court problems, which is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of him. Now, this pattern is not really common in a lot of these incidents. The relationship between the victims and the abuser makes prosecuting cases very difficult and can often leave the victim feeling as if they're the ones at fault. According to this article, this is all just according to the article. Now, again, this is obviously a big thing that you have to really consider when you're trying to acquire someone like Bridges. You have to consider everything. If it's going to be a problem in the locker room, if it's going to be a problem off the court, if they're going to have to deal with those problems off the court. And really, you don't want that kind of distraction in the NBA. You really don't want any kind of bad distractions like that, because it could really throw off everything for your team. And on top of that, it could end up getting you in trouble. Now, he was suspended by the NBA for 30 games, and this was later reduced to 10 games before the 2023-24 season. The reasoning behind the reasoning behind this was that he was given credit for 20 games time served after sitting out all 82 games last season, and the suspension was served at the start of last season. So sports are easier when things are either black or white, one or the other. And there's nothing in the way of cheering for your favorite team. Adding a player who has been convicted of something like that makes it impossible to view things that simply. According to this article, I don't know why this article is really touching on it that much. And the Cavs have a difficult hole to fill on the court, but this isn't the way to go about doing so, at least according to the article. Now, as a player, and from again, that's just the machine, I can't really do nothing about that, but as the player, just talking about the player, he is really just a good fit for the team. Again, the big problem mainly comes from what he does off the court and how that would interfere with his game. But aside from that, I think it would be a rather good pickup for the Cavs, and he could definitely help in for them winning. Now, that's really all that I have for you on this fifth segment. Let me know in the comments if you think Bridges is going to be a good fit for the Cavs, if he does going to the Cavs. Now, would that be a great pickup? Would that be a bad pickup? Or would you rather see him on a different team altogether, like maybe even the Clippers or even the Lakers? A lot of people love to just randomly put every single free agent in a Lakers jersey. So how would he look on the Lakers? But that's a completely different story for a completely different time. That's all I have for you on this segment. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. As usual, please remember to use the link in the description to get your comments recognized, or the link displayed below the ticker on every show segment. That is gsmcpodcast.net. Really helps the show, makes it much more interactive between myself and you guys. That is all I have for you today on this segment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't want